Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Out of Bounds podcast, episode 17. And I am here by myself because last week we talked a little bit about the USFL, and then the weekend came, the USFL came. I watched all the games that happened from start to end, and I personally really enjoyed it. Matt, he did not watch the USFL this past weekend with me. He saw like a little bit of the games, but he didn't see all of them like I did. So he said, I'm not going to be that great of a help to you for this podcast because I don't know my stuff. You just go on and do it by yourself because I really want to talk about the USFL and all that. Alright, so in today's episode, I'm going to be ranking the 8 teams of the USFL from worst to best. And yeah, but before I talk about that, let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Deebo Samuel, he has officially requested a trade, something that Carson Wentz has not done. So all you Eagles fans and all you other people that hate Carson Wentz because you think he requested a trade from the Eagles, that is not true. He never did, and so you are hating for him on the wrong reason. If you wanted to see why you shouldn't hate Carson Wentz, check out one of our other podcast episodes. I think that's episode like 11 or something like that, but regardless, yeah. So Deebo Samuel officially requested a trade. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I would like to see him come here. I don't think he will. I think he will go to a team that has a lot of cap space. What team that is currently off the top of my head, I do not know. I do know that the Eagles have some cap space. I don't know if we have some of the most cap space, though. So he does want a lot of money. So whichever team he goes to, I think is going to have a lot of money to spend. I think that could be a team like the Houston Texans or some other low team, maybe the Jets. I don't think they're really spending much money on anyone. But yeah, so that's all on the Deebo Samuel front. It literally happened today where he requested a trade. And also, A.J. Brown, he took Tennessee out of his bio. Some people are thinking that a trade could be coming. I think that as a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I know I'm talking about the Eagles, and all of you that are not Eagles fans are like, come on, talk about any team other than the Eagles. I'm just saying it from my perspective. I think that, we have a lot of draft picks, so I think that the Eagles could be a team that could acquire A.J. Brown or Deebo Samuel. They could use that one of their first round picks they have in this draft to trade it. Who knows, maybe the Lions could trade their last first round pick for one of them. That could be an option. I think they do need some more weapons. They got Amon St. Brown, but that's pretty much. Oh, they also have that tight end that's really good, TJ Hawkinson and Swift. I think the offense could improve a lot for that Lions team. And well, Jared Goff is not that great of a QB, but imagine if they got if they drafted Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett, I don't think they would start this year. So it won't really make an immediate impact, but I could see them being the starter for the following year. Although Dan Campbell said that you don't need a great QB in order to win a Super Bowl, and I do believe that to an extent. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. I do believe he is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback, but he's definitely like someone I would I don't know if I'd build a team around him for the long haul just because of his age. But when he entered the league, that he was a really good quarterback, and I still think he has some good years in him. Can he win a Super Bowl again? It depends. It really does depend. But enough talking about that. That's all we have on the NFL front for right now. Now we're going to be talking about the USFL, which you have all come here to watch, is what I'm expecting. Alright, so coming in at number 8, I have the Pittsburgh Maulers. Now, this team was terrible, and I'd like to think that is because of the fact that this one USFL player that was on the Maulers was kicked off the team, or fired, basically, because he wanted pizza, but they didn't have pizza. So they said, is that going to be a problem? We're only having chicken salad. And he said, yeah. And he walked away. And so he was fired because of that, which I think is completely ridiculous. I can't believe it happened. The clip, I think, has gone viral now. He was a running back, so that could have affected why their run defense sucked. I don't know if he was their starter or not. So with the Pittsburgh Maulers, why have them at number 8, besides the fact that they didn't even score a single touchdown? The QBs that they had, they weren't good. They had 0 interceptions, but they also have 0 TDs. The run game, like I said, was basically absent. They had no rushing touchdowns. They averaged 3.4 yards per carry, and that was their number 1 running back. I forget how many carries he had, but he only averaged 3.4, which in the end game, if you have a lead and you're averaging at, that's fine, but it's not something you can really that's not good, I would say. Defense played well, though. I will give them that. They had 2 interceptions, 8 tackles for loss, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble. The defense did play well. The offense was basically not non-existent, which is why I have them at number 8, because at least for the NFL, offenses win games now, and offense wins championships now, I should say. I know the old saying was offense wins games, defense wins championships. It seems like these last couple of years it's been the big heavy hitter offenses that have been winning the championships. LA Rams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Granted, they also have really good defenses, but their offenses were unstoppable. Alright, number 7, I have the Michigan Panthers. The QBs went for 1 TD, 1 interception. Run game, got 1 rushing TD, averaged 4 yards per carry. So the offense played decent, nothing like crazy. Defense got 1 interception, 1 sack, and 4 tackles for loss. So the defense did play relatively well, but like I said, they're at number 7 for a reason. I didn't see much from them. They never took the lead at one point. So, I mean, these stats look decent, but they almost came back and got the win. But in the end, they just weren't able to do that. They were behind the entire game and just could not take the lead at one point. At number 6, I have my team, the Philadelphia Stars. The offense was not so great. We had 1 TD, 1 interception. Those were passing, by the way. Run game was actually doing pretty well. 1 rushing TD, averaged 5.8 yards per carry, our number 1 running back. So I just don't know why they didn't keep on running. I think he did get injured at one point in the game. I know one of our running backs did. But our running back did pretty well. I hope that he will be able to play in the next game. I think we are up against the Panthers, I believe. But I'm not sure. I have to go check on that. Defense wasn't that good, though. They had 1 interception and 2 tackles for loss, but they just could not stop the run game. We faced the New Orleans Breakers, and you will see where I ranked them sooner or later. But we just could not stop that run game at all. It was really bad. They just kept running for first down after first down after first down on us. They also got a few TDs that way. At number 5, I have the Tampa Bay Bandits. I know a lot of people are going to be mad at me because they completely blew out the Pittsburgh Maulers. Why do you have them here? This is a good team. They're 1-0, and that means because you only have done 3 teams so far that you have a team that is 0-1 above them. That is correct. I do have a team that lost above these guys. Here's the thing. The reason why I have this low is because they faced the Pittsburgh Maulers, who I saw were absolutely terrible. So that is one reason. Also, their offense did not do so great. The rushing game wasn't much better, honestly, and the defense wasn't too great. So I didn't see much from them. But yeah, they had a bad offense. Their number 1 QB had 62.8 QBR. He had 1 passing touchdown, but he also had 2 interceptions. He was averaging 5.2 yards per completion, which isn't amazing, but it's not bad. Rushing game wasn't much better. They only had one touchdown, but they averaged 2.1 yards. This is their number one running back. He averaged 2.1 yards per attempt, and he had 19 attempts. So if that doesn't tell you what their run game was like, I don't know what will. Defense wasn't so great. They did have 3 sacks, which is good. They didn't have any interceptions, though. No forced fumbles. They had 12 tackles for loss, which is good, but like I said, I didn't see much from this Tampa Bay Bandits team to say they were in the top 3. So that is a big thing why I didn't have them higher. Next, this team did lose, but I think they are better than the Bandits. I have the New Jersey Generals. They had a good offense. Their number 1 QB, which I don't know why they subs this QB out. He went 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. They had 1 rushing TD. They averaged 8.2 yards per carry. That was their number 1 rusher. He averaged 8.2 yards per carry. They had a rushing touchdown. Their number 1 rusher had 98 yards with 12 attempts, which is really good. Like I said, their first QB was really good. I don't know why they subbed him out. Had 72.2 completion rating and a 132.4 QBR. The defense was decent. They had an interception, a sack, and 4 tackles for loss. Nothing spectacular. I think it was the defense really that let this New Jersey Generals team down, because they had the lead for the first 3.5 quarters, but then they just ultimately gave up. I don't really know why. The New Jersey Generals, yeah. So that, I thought they did pretty well. Now the next one I have is the Houston Gamblers. Their QB was a little shaky. He had a touchdown, but he also had an interception. They had decent rushing game. They didn't have a rushing touchdown, but the top rusher had 71 yards in 13 attempts. The defense was okay, with 1 interception, 3 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 6 tackles for loss, and 4 forced fumbles. So the defense played pretty good. I think they could work on their offense a bit more. I don't know if this league will repeat the NFL with being like offense wins championships, but so far, if you're not a USFL fan, maybe you'll just pick one of these top teams to root for if you don't have a team in your city, which I understand. I think that the USFL will expand. If it continues to be on this rate, then they will expand and have more teams. But the Birmingham Stallions, this is why I really liked the Stallions, was because they had a late game comeback. They were up against the New Jersey Generals. Like I said, the Generals had the lead for a while, but the Birmingham Stallions had a comeback in the 4th quarter. They didn't have the lead at all for the first 3 quarters, but then the 4th quarter came back from a deficit, which really impresses me. If you're able to do that, that's a really good team. Late game comeback, 2 rushing TDs, 2 passing TDs, and the defense had 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble. Their QB came in late in the game and had a 92.6 QBR. The QB they had originally wasn't doing so great, so they had put the backup in, had some TDs, had a good QBR, and he's really what I think made them have this comeback. I believe his last name is Smith. But yeah, I think that is who your starter should be going forward, Stallions. Next team I have, and this is the number 1 team. At number 1 is the New Orleans Breakers. They had a really good defense, 6 sacks, a pick 6, 9 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles. If that doesn't sell you on the defense, I don't know what will. I personally saw this team as having the best defense. They also had a pretty good offense, which I will get to in a minute. But like I said, 6 sacks. They also had a pick 6, 9 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles. Their one player, I think his last name is Bellamy. He was the defensive player of the week, and for good reason. They also had Sharif Miller, who was an Eagle at one point. Kind of ironic that he faced a Philadelphia team. The Eagles drafted him in the 5th round. I remember watching him in the preseason. He did get injured, so I guess he just wasn't able to land an NFL job after that. He was really good for this team. I thought he would have made an NFL roster with at least a practice squad, but apparently he didn't, and I like seeing him in this league now. I think he's going to dominate in it. But yeah, this defense is really good. Their QB wasn't great. He had one interception. He didn't have any passing touchdowns, although they did have a good rushing team. They had these 2 running backs who rushed for 2 TDs, which is, like I said, they faced the New Orleans Stars, and the New Orleans Stars just could not stop these 2 running backs from getting first downs and touchdowns. I'm not just saying they're the best team because they went and beat my Philadelphia Stars, but they did a good job against the team. I have the Philadelphia Stars at 6 because not only did they have some good stats, and I think they did pretty well, they kept the game competitive, and if this is the team to beat, if the Philadelphia Stars, by keeping it competitive, I think I could move them up 1 or 2. I don't think I could put them ahead of the Tampa Bay Bandits. I can't just push aside the win that the Bandits got. It was a complete, they blew the other team out. Yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say about the USFL. They do have also, a little fun fact is one time I was cleaning out my parents' basement. I was going through some stuff. This was a few years back, and I saw this hat. It was the Philadelphia Stars, and I was like, "Yo, Dad, what is this?" And he's like, "Oh, that's the Philadelphia Stars. It used to be this football league before you were born. They had I had a few teams. Philadelphia Stars was one of the team. That was the Philadelphia team, and they competed with the NFL. Ultimately lost. Donald Trump even had a team at one point called the New York something. I forget who they were. I'm actually surprised that New York doesn't have a team. I guess they're just going with I guess New Yorkers would vote for the New Jersey Generals because that's like the closest thing to you guys. But I'm actually surprised by some of the teams. Like LA doesn't have a team. LA, I think, would be a big market for them. Dallas doesn't have a team, which I thought would also be a big market. They got New Orleans. Yeah, that's a big market. Not surprising. Birmingham, that's surprising. Birmingham doesn't have a NFL team. Houston Texans. Yeah, I could see. I mean, Dallas fans, I guess you would vote for the Houston team. Well, here's the thing. If they do expand in the offseason, I do think that some of the places to watch out for would be New York, Dallas, and LA. I think those are big markets for them. They might go to another Florida city or maybe New England, someplace up there. I hope that they do actually go to different stadiums now because the whole season is being played out in just 2 stadiums. I think both of the stadiums are in Georgia, so they're only getting played at 2 stadiums this season, which I think is kind of a bummer because can you really have home field advantage? It kind of makes it seem like there isn't there's not a team. I guess Atlanta would be another team you could do. There's not a team that really has home field advantage, so I guess that's fair. New Jersey Generals, I'm surprised they have a New Jersey team. That's actually surprising for me. Tampa Bay Bandits, yeah, Tampa Bay's a big market. Those people like football ever since Tom Brady got there, feels like. Philadelphia Stars, Philly is a big market. I'm happy that they got a Philadelphia team. I don't know if I would have the same enthusiasm in the USFL if my city did not have a team. The XFL and the AFL, both of those leagues did not have a Philadelphia team, so I wasn't really too interested in them because if they don't have a Philadelphia team, I'm like, all right, well then, who do I root for? I honestly don't know who I should root for because there's not a place that is representing my city. I think for the AFL I was rooting for like Orlando because I'm like, oh, I like to vacation there, so I guess that is going to be my team. But I would like for them to have a Philadelphia team. Michigan Panthers. Michigan obviously is a big market. They got the Vikings up there, Vikings fans. I think most of these, and obviously the Pittsburgh Maulers. Pittsburgh loves football. That's the other side of PA, and they like football, I think, more than Philly. I think more Philly is more urban, so you're gonna get. I think there's not fields, and I think more people enjoy basketball here. Although Philly, we love football, and we will die for our Eagles. We will always root for our Eagles. If you don't know what the fan base of the Philadelphia Eagles are, just look up some videos. You'll find it. I love the fan base, bruh. Every time I go to Lincoln Financial Field, I love walking in there and seeing my fan base. We do treat you visitors pretty rough. I was behind a Colts fan when I saw the Colts at the Eagles a few years back, and they were throwing beer cans at the guy in front of me. But yeah, there also last game I went to was against the Dallas Cowboys. This was it. What it the game didn't even mean anything, but we all were so heavily rooting for our Eagles to win, even though all of our backups were in, and the Dallas Cowboys had all of their starters. There was this guy a few rows ahead of me, who was a Dallas Cowboys fan. All of us in the stands were completely trashing him. We weren't throwing anything at him. One point, the guy sitting next to me was like, "Nah, you know what? I gotta talk to this guy." And he went down a few rows and was talking to him, and he was just like shit talking him for a solid half an hour, even though the Cowboys had the lead pretty much that entire game. But yeah, that's Philly for you. I love my fellow Eagles fans. They probably are not too happy with me because I support Carson Wentz. I do support Jalen. I don't think he's our franchise QB, but I'm going to ride and die with my Philadelphia Eagles to the end. Currently with the USFL, like, I can't really talk about big names because none of these guys are really big names. The best quarterback I saw this weekend, I'd have to say, is Perez. That was the quarterback on the New Jersey Generals who threw 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and had a 132.4 QBR and a 72.2 completion rating. I don't know why they took him out of the game. They had that other QB go in. I think he was a Russian QB, but I don't know why they had him go in. If Perez is not broke, don't fix it. They interviewed them on the sidelines during the game, and we're talking to them about what is it like sharing it, and they said at the end of the day, we just want to win. So that's what is, like, we don't care if we have to split the time, which I think is good by them. Also, some things that the USFL does that I really enjoy, that I wish the NFL would implement, is the helmet cameras. Those helmet POVs is so cool. It makes, like, I'm sitting on the couch and I feel like I'm one of the players on that field playing with them. I thought it was fantastic. I really, really liked the helmet cams. I thought that was cool. Also, I liked how all the players are mic'd up, or at least the main players, and we get to hear like the mic'd up of the coaches, the refs, the players. So if all you people that think that the NFL is rigged and there's cheating and all that, I think this kind of like proves that there's like no cheating at all in the USFL if everyone's mic'd up, because you hear what the coach is saying, what plays he's calling, and I think that's really cool. I really like it. So that's for me. But those are some of the things I really liked, because I wish I would hear it mic'd up while I was watching the game. Then I have to like wait till Wednesday or something to watch mic'd up on the NFL's YouTube channel. So that's like something that I wish the NFL would implement. But mostly I would like to see those helmet cams, that the POVs of them like scoring touchdowns, having pick sixes or interceptions. It's so cool. I really wish the NFL would implement that. Who knows, the NFL may implement that kind of stuff if they see that the USFL is having some success with this. Next year, the USFL, I think, is going to be competing with the XFL, who has a partnership with the NFL. So it's going to be very interesting. And if the NFL tries to help out their buddies, the XFL, because I know they have some like partnership where they're going to be testing new rules in the XFL, and if they work, they'll bring it to the NFL. So they're kind of using the XFL as a testing system. Dwayne the Rock Johnson owns the XFL. It's very interesting if they start, but if the USFL ever tries to compete with the NFL for players or something like that, the NFL is gonna have to lay down the hammer and destroy the XFL, or not the XFL, the USFL, for stealing their players. Because that was actually a thing at one point. I think the USFL, back when it was around earlier, stole Dan Marino before he went to Miami, and that really upset the NFL, and that ultimately was the ending of the USFL because they started stealing players. So the NFL was like, we're not going to have this crap, and took them down. So that is all I have to say about episode 17. That is the end of this episode on Wednesday. Matt and I are going to be back again on Friday or Saturday with an episode. I believe it should come out Friday, may come out Saturday. But I think what we're going to be doing is Jalen Hurts versus Jameis Winston. And that's going to be a fun episode, or fun argument I'm going to have with Matt. But yeah, that is it. And I will see you on Saturday or Friday. I don't know.